Reporting to you live here at the Douro River in Porto, Portugal. It's live from last week, episode 214. Let's go! Welcoming my fellow JayWalkers to another episode of Live from last week. Hope last week has served you well. Just a quick shameless plug before we go on. Want you guys to like and share this video and subscribe to the channel. So, waking up this morning with a decent sleep and trying to open up my eyes to these beautiful views this morning from our apartment rentals here in Porto, Portugal. We rose to see how it looked like outside. Early morning walk the Rua das Flores. Then get some breakfast at this small local spot called My Coffee Porto. Enjoying yet another Portuguese egg custard tart. Some Americano coffee. And one of the most delicious ham and cheese croissants that I have ever tasted. We then went on to do something that I think is a must-do when somebody is visiting Porto. And that is, of course, do a port wine tasting, as well as do a local tour with a tuk-tuk, especially with our Porto tour guide here, Joao. Now guys, after that 5-star tuk-tuk and walking tour with Joao, we then went to go search and order the dish that they're well known for here in Porto. Going to Trigo de Cantos to try out here their craft beer, as well as their delicious Francesinha plate that they had here. Anyways, once again, walking around the Porto area and checking out the sights and sounds around the Douro River. We'll just do quick birthday shoutouts, starting out with a birthday greeting to one of my volleyball friends who I've played alongside with over the past year. This birthday shoutout goes out to you, Oscar. Happy birthday, Oscar. We also got a birthday shout out to one of my former coworkers who I miss working alongside with. This birthday shout out goes out to you, Justina. Happy birthday, Hoos. We also got a birthday greeting to one of my FCAR/YSIC friends from the past. This birthday greeting goes out to you, Alex. Happy birthday, Alex. Next up, we got a birthday greeting to one of my SMIOA friends from the Chicago area. This birthday shout out goes out to you, Fradel. Happy birthday, Fradel. And last but not least, we got a birthday shout out to one of my university friends from back in the day. This birthday shout out goes out to you, Jania. Happy birthday, Jania. I'm hoping that everybody that has their birthdays today are doing well, staying safe and healthy at this time, and had a great celebration for your birthdays this year. After spending much time taking in the sights of the Douro River in the evening, we headed to Castro to take a look and try our first Portuguese egg tart here in Porto. We then came back to the apartment after hearing that there was a severe thunderstorm watch in the Porto area. Reminded that I had to cook this mistaken order that I got from Too Good To Go a couple nights back. I had to brave the elements getting soaking wet in the storm with my swimming trunks and my chanillas, and the wife supervising me from the balcony. Going back to the local grocery store, I just had to pick up these ingredients for our meal. Then coming back to the apartment to hit up another one of my 2025 New Year's goals. We were finally ready for our Portuguese cooking class, led by the one, the only, the wife. So after several minutes of prep and getting this Portuguese chicken ready, as top chef, I was in charge of making sure this baby was cooked to perfection. And boy oh boy, after checking up on the chicken every so often, it had already looked so appetizing. And with the guidance from the wife, the chicken was finally ready to be unveiled.
That was good.
And guys, what happened next really shocked me. Yum! We cooked some Portuguese chicken! We next had plated these babies up and had a nice Portuguese chicken dinner with the wife to wrap up the night. Now, on to this morning after getting about 6 hours of rest, opening up the floor to ceiling balcony doors to this view, and me sipping my morning tea with this great video produced by the wife. I was able to edit some videos from the comfort of my office here before we went on a day trip just walking around while being soaked in the rain, hitting up places like the Mercado do Boião, taking a shot with a small chocolate shot glass of the Portuguese alcoholic drink Ginja. You eat this?
Mm-hmm, it's chocolate. Nice.
Tastes like diamond tap. Catching the sunset views of the Douro River and doing a wine cellar tour, as well as a must-do while in Porto, a port wine tasting. Finishing up with a traditional Fado show. And walking by the riverside for our second full day here in Porto. Anyways, after wrapping up the night, randomly find this Caranguejo after seeing one at the airport when I landed in Lisbon. Playing with this little cranny this afternoon while the wife was sleeping. Oh my gosh. Then getting the wife to try it out and play with it after we got home from all of our events this evening. We just have a quick birthday shout out to one of my Filipino friends out there that I remember going to the FSA boat cruise formal with back in university. This birthday shout out goes out to you, Stefan. Happy birthday, Steph. I'm hoping that at this time, you and your family are doing well, staying safe and healthy, and that you had a great celebration for your birthday this year. Somehow sleeping late last night, but getting back my poor habits of getting 6 hours of sleep or less, I got up to enjoy the early morning skies from the apartment balcony while not being able to go back to sleep. And spontaneously went to take a walk outside our accommodations on Rua das Flores to try to catch the sunrise around this hour. At a location that we stopped over during our dark night tours in Porto a couple nights back, at the Miradoro da Vitória. But unfortunately, guys, while racing up to the top of this lookout, when I got there, it seemed like this private property area was chained off. So, trying to find an alternative, I decided to take a viewpoint similar to this particular local here and slowly watch the sunrise from when it was below the horizon to when it finally came up to greet us this morning. Then, making a mission for myself, I decided to take a walk on that bridge that we saw in the distance during the sunrise, and got on it watching the trains go right by me while walking on this bridge. But one thing I did forget while walking halfway across it was, although witnessing the several beautiful panoramic views that were around me, I had forgotten that it was a long, long way down, and that I was feeling a little bit of vertigo with my unfortunate fear of heights. But once I was able to conquer my fear and finally cross the bridge and take a picture of this sign of the city that's across the river in order to pick up some food from one of my favorite places to eat for breakfast, I had to cross this bridge just one more time again. So, getting over my fear of heights for the second time this morning, I was eventually able to cross back to the original side. Then finally arriving to my coffee, Porto, I was able to taste and try their beloved ham and cheese sandwich again. Sandwiches at my coffee, Porto, so good. I don't care. Take my money. Next, after checking out and saying bye-bye to our Porto apartment one last time, I made a too good to go order on the main strip from this location that I later gave to the wife after meeting her up on the street. Then afterwards, taking a nice little walk with the wife and seeing many upon many Europeans wearing these red and white colors, as well as having some of them sing aloud.
Olympiacos.
I recalled seeing that there was actually a Europa League match between Greek side Olympiacos versus FC Porto later on this evening. Anyways, late this morning, enjoying the scenes in and around the Douro River for the last time, and marveling on my personal accomplishment of crossing one of their more famous bridges earlier in the day. The wife and I had arrived to Sao Bento Station, only to have this wham moment. Taking our train to Lisbon, I had a glimpse of our ticket and found out that I had booked the trip for next week, Thursday, January 30th, instead of today, Thursday, January 23rd. What a mistake. So guys, I just had to buy another pair of tickets. But then and only then, once we got settled, the wife and I were finally able to enjoy our Too Good To Go order, full of cold cuts, fruit, and some bakery items. But moving on, flashing back to this scene 6 days ago when we arrived to Lisbon, I took a similar video of the wife earlier lugging her luggage on the cobblestone streets before we came back here to our original and exact room that we booked for our first 3 nights here in Lisbon. So, about last night, where after the wife bought these Portuguese postcards to mail out as a tradition she usually does while traveling, we went to a local and intimate restaurant called Frade Dos Mares, where I believe I had one of the best dining experiences I've ever had in my life. From this mushroom risotto, to the wife's polvo dish, to my sea bass catch of the day, to the star of the show, the prawns, and finishing up with a dessert shot of Ginja. All of these selections are dishes that I would definitely and highly recommend. I mean, guys, the ambience of the place, the attentive service, and the taste of the food was just exquisite. Then, afterwards, for dessert, making a mission cross town, I headed to do our last Too Good To Go pickup in Portugal, getting what we had originally tried for the first time in Porto. Going to this Castro restaurant location right next to the Elevador de Santa Justa to get a hand-picked box of these Portuguese egg tarts for the road. Then after recalling that we bought a couple of these tickets for an event later on in the night while we were back at the hotel, the wife and I spent our last night in Portugal doing a Lisbon pub crawl. Now, getting home late last night, only to get up early after about 4 hours of sleep. Reminded by all the fun that we had bar hopping with our tour guides Felipe and Alfonso. Making friends with Ben from New York. Chris from San Fran via Miami. Up and June from Seoul. And Jamie from Boston via Houston. As well as these European guys who were definitely the life of the party. I honestly did get up with a slight hangover. Demolished several of these egg tarts that I just bought from Castro the previous night. And along with that crazy Caranguejo during our last day here in Lisbon, said bye-bye to our accommodations. As we started our walk in the morning, leaving the beautiful Lisboa. Then once we got to the airport, we had the wife search for a mailbox in order to send off her postcards that she got in Portugal that I mentioned a little earlier. Then afterwards, going to a local McDonald's in the airport and getting this Jurassic Park themed Happy Meal, as well as a special Morangas McFlurry that I had only seen and tasted here in Europe. We made our way to our gate only to see another Caranguejo running around, trying to wreak havoc and escape the terminal, as you guys can see here. Before we lifted off from Lisbon to make our flight to come back here over the Atlantic to Toronto. Then after the 8-hour flight returning to Pearson, we got back to this winter weather, being able to see our breath, taking the TTC for another 2-hour trek, arriving to Warden Station to see that they had already closed their in-station bus bay, having us go to their temporary bus stops outside of the station for our ride home. But guys, wrapping up our long day of travels, instead of doing our traditional post-trip visit to the perfect Chinese restaurant, tonight I just went local, getting some takeout from Royal Kanji, as the wife and I were craving some Asian food after being in Europe for the past week and a bit. Guys, still severely suffering from jet lag. Guess who tried to sleep in after passing out at around 10:30 p.m.? Getting around 6 hours of sleep, but waking up at 5 in the morning. A little bit upset at this early wake-up call since I gotta stay up for my first of my 2 night shifts scheduled for later on tonight. So, while awake, trying to catch up before sunrise. Staying up during the day, trying to catch up on all the SmackDown episodes I missed. I'm now recalling a couple pieces of mail that we got in our mailbox while we were away. Including this postcard that we got from one of our friends, V, from her traveling to Bhutan, with one of the best stamps I've ever seen, as well as this one from Korea, and even this pop-up one from Thailand, but one that might have to wait until my off day to put together, from the wife's travels when she was on the other side of the world a couple months back. So after I left y'all yesterday evening, on a night where there was a visible alignment of the planets in 2025, it was unfortunately a little bit too cloudy to see, but I was able to catch this beautiful sunset in lieu of that, prior to going in for yet another busy night shift. Then after going to the Our Lady of Lourdes Catholic Parish for Sunday morning Mass post-shift, and getting in a decent nap of almost 5 hours after work, we just have a quick anniversary greeting to Tito Eddie and Tita Mone, of whom are celebrating their 40th wedding anniversary today. Happy anniversary, Mom and Dad! I'm really hoping that you guys are having a great time celebrating together away from your kids. And also, on that note, we have a quick birthday shout out to one of my university friends from back in the day. This birthday shout out goes out to you, Lorraine. Happy birthday, Lorraine. As well, we got a birthday shout out to one of my high school friends out there who I remember in the hallways greeting him with a Ric Flair woo! This birthday shout out goes out to you, Mark. Happy birthday, Mark. I'm hoping that at this time, everybody that has their birthdays today are doing well, staying safe and healthy, and had a great celebration for your birthdays this year. So coming off my night shift this morning, I can honestly admit that I wasn't feeling too well, as you guys can probably hear by my voice. So guys, when I got home, I used my secret under the weather concoction by taking in some hulls, some honey ginger tea, and alas, my favorite, chicken noodle soup. But after getting a really poor post-night shift nap, I'm just gonna try to recover and get some more rest in today. But before I go, I have a quick birthday shout out to one of my former coworkers out there who we saw not too long ago and who we nickname each other Eeyore. This birthday shout out goes out to you, Kate. Happy birthday, Kate. I'm hoping that at this time, you and your family are doing well, staying safe and healthy, and that you had a great celebration for your birthday this year. And with that, guys, we'll wrap up this week's Live from Last Week episode right here. So, if you guys have enjoyed what you've been watching, feel free to follow JayWalkerPOV on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube. Be sure to like and share this video, subscribe to the channel, and hit that notifications bell to be notified when new videos from JayWalkerPOV come out. And once again, I'd like to thank you guys for watching. Stay safe and healthy out there, and we'll see you next time on Live from Last Week.